This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you are all doing great and ready for another session. So, before we jump into today's topic, let's quickly recap what we covered in our last session. Okay, so we learned about while loops, including infinite loops and how to control them. And we explored conditional statements using if, elif, and else to make decisions in our code. And of course, like we practice coding these concepts in the Google Colab. So now, what's on the agenda for today? So we are going to start with the break keyword, how to exit loops when needed, and then we'll move on to nested loops like loop inside loop, and an important programming concept called functions after it. And we'll also discuss like what are global and local variables, and like we'll understand the scope of how variable scope works. And then finally, if time permits, today we'll introduce data structures. We are going to start with list. So it's going to be an exciting session. So let's get started. I'm going to share the Google Colab link in the chat, and I'm going to share my screen. You all can try opening the Colab. And yesterday, in the end, we note like I wanted you all to try two table. So simple two table, not using nested loops, but just by creating a table. So first let's see the break keyword and then we'll go for the nested while loops. So we spoke about infinite while loops. So when we have infinite while loops, like sometimes systems gets hang too. Sometimes the code requires infinite while loop, but it has to break with some condition. In that cases, how to use the break keyword with conditional statement we are going to see now. For example, I have a infinite while loop, but I want to break it if that particular number reaches value 100 or some other value. Like for example, first I create an infinite while loop, I is equal to 1, while true, this is going to be always true. I'm pressing enter, I'm inside the while block now. I'll give a condition I equal to I plus 1. So here, this is the simple infinite while loop, but I want to break this particular infinite while loop when this I value reaches 70. So yesterday we understood the concept of if conditional statements, right? Using if conditional statements, I'm going to give a condition for if means I if I reaches the value 70 colon again the syntax for if block, I press enter. Now I'm inside the if block. Inside the while, I am creating a if block. So I'm inside the if block. So I want to break here. So break keyword can be used like this. So I'll come out of the code and then let me print the I value and see if it's breaking at 70 or not. So break keyword is used this way, like you just write break. If I just run this, so first I created a variable 1, then infinite while loop, while so I got a message like I can't hear sound. Is my voice clear or is that same for everybody? Are you able to hear my voice? Okay, great. Uh, Sam, you have to check because everybody else are able to hear me clearly. Check your audio. So you can see here. So we used a break keyword here. So if I would have written like 200 here, then if I just run this, I will be break when the I value reaches 200. So Python always executes line by line. So first I equal to 1, then it sees like true, then it got the key to enter inside the block. I equal to I plus 1. So I plus 1, it becomes 2, then it will like it, we are still inside the while loop, right? So it will check if I is equal to 200. So when you have single equal to, that means we are assigning a value. When we write a equal to 5, that means we are assigning the value a to 5 to a. When you write a double equal to 5, this is the equality checking. Like, we are checking if a value is equal to 5 or not. So this double equal to means we are checking if this particular I value is 200 or not. So we are checking like if I value is 200 or not. So first time it incremented to 2, it was not. So it won't, like, this will enter the if block only when this condition is true. So then again it will increment here. So we have true again. So we still have the key. Then it becomes 3. Then it will check again. The same time till 200 it will check it. When it was 200, it becomes true. We'll enter the if block. As soon as we enter the if block, it sees the break keyword. Then it breaks. The loop breaks and will come out of the while loop. This is how the break keyword works. So any questions here? Like, you give 20,000, then it runs till 20,000, see, then it breaks at 20,000. So this is a simple break keyword, and yeah, it will break infinite while loops and even with the finite while loops. For example, if I just write I less than or equal to 100, I wanted to print it I value from 1 to 100. So this is a finite loop. This is not infinite while loop, but this is a finite while loop where we want to print numbers from 1 to 100. But here I'm including a if block, like like you can have any conditions based on your problem statement. But here I've just tried, when I reaches the value 25 break, then it will break at 25. So it will break infinite while loops and finite while loops. So next we'll go for nested while loops. So
Uh,
everybody, yeah.
yeah. Oh, I just wanted to know here, this it will print from 1 to 25 or just 25?
It will print from 1 to 25. I'm just printing I value after the code execution, right? After everything gets executed, when I'm coming out of the code block, when I say print I, it would, what is the final value of I? It was 25, right? So I just got printed 25 here. So if this print statement was inside the while block, then it will print 25 times, right? It will repeat this particular code also. Then you'll see that we got numbers from, first we are incrementing, then printing. So it started from 2. Then you'll print all the numbers. You see 25 twice because 125 is because of this print statement, and the other one is for the one which is in the end. Yeah, is
Okay.
your question clear?
Yeah, but oh, why do we have to write this entire code? We can write I is equal to 25 directly, right?
Yeah, we can write it if that was your requirement, but why we are doing here is because we want to learn how the break keyword works. So we have created
Okay.
an example where we can learn this.
Okay,
So, and
okay.
with Python, what is the curse and boon of Python is that to solve a one particular problem statement, there are many different ways. Sometimes that
Okay.
is a boon for us, sometimes that becomes a curse because we get confused. There are like different ways to reach the solution with Python.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, and then nested while loops. So everybody are able to solve the two table. Are you able to execute the two table by yourself? Like you got the exact outputs which looks like this fancy, like 2 into 1 equal to 2, so on till 2 into 10 equal to 20.
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. If no, don't worry. We are going to do it now. So, uh, nested while loop, like first we'll create two table, then we'll talk about how nested while loop is created. First, I'm not going to create the fancy thing, just like I want the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8 to 20. Now you can try, like, just ignore all this. How to get output from 2 to 20. So we used while loops yesterday, then we generated like 3, 5, 7. So you had some logical statement written there, right? The same way, how to get this 2 to 20, just think on that. So because we need the logic to get the outputs, not only syntax. So here first what I'm going to do is I'll take simple variable I equal to 2 because I'm going to generate I2 table. So if single table with one single variable also we can create it. So I'm going to take one more variable. So I want from 2 ones two 1 2 divide 2 multiplied by 1 equal to 2. So while q less than or equal to 10, I want 1 to go from, we have two numbers here, 2, and we have to multiply from 1 to 10. So we want 1 to go from 1, 2, 3, 4, so on to till 10. Then I'll just print I divided into multiplied by q. And here I don't have to increment the I value because it's always 2. We are going to create only two tables. But I have to increment the q value because I want 1 to reach till 10. So what I write is q equal to q plus 1. And when it reaches 10, uh, it comes out of the file block. If I just run this, it's very simple. You got 2 fours, 6, 8, 10, 12, yeah, so on. So now I can make this fancy by just adding the decorating part, like, I just don't need this like this. I want it to look like 2 cross 1 equal to 2. So I got this output. For this, what I do is, this is nothing but I, and for this cross I can, with using the strings, I can give x, capital X, and 1 is nothing but the q, and for equal to, again I can give the string, and this right side output I got using I into q, right? So I'll multiply I into q. That's it. To just make it look like a table, two table. So I'll do this in the print statement itself. I have to separate everything with commas, then it would work. So let me show you here itself. So I is a variable, no quotations. So here with quotation capital X, then is like 2 into q. It's a variable, no quotations, because I want the q value change from 1 to 10, then equal to comma, then the value. Now you would see that it looks like this. So it's a little simple logic we have to add. So we got two table here. Till here it's simple, right? Any questions? So till here it's clear. So now let's make it like nested while loops. Like here with the same code, if I want 3 table, what I'll do is, like, I'll change 3 here, it will be 3 table. If I change 4 here, 4, any number I give it, like, I get that particular table, right? So what I want to do is, like, I want 2, 3, 4 tables at once. Like, if you want like 10 tables at once, I don't want to repeat this code or change anything, like, but I just want to create a like nested while loops, and I want to generate like 2, 3, 4 table at once. So how nested while loops works, we are going to see it now. So this is for one table, right? What we have to change here is, like, if you want 2, 3, 4 tables, so we want this also get incremented. This I value first, it has to be for 2 table. The same block has to execute for 2 table. After that, I want to increment I equal to I plus 1, 2 has to become 3. Then again the whole block has to be executed and we get the 3 table, and then I want 3 to become 4 and the whole block gets executed, right? So we need one more while loop to increment this I from 2, 3, 4. So what we are going to do is, so let's take the same variables here, I equal to 2 and q equal to 1, while first let's check for the I, like I less than or equal to, I'm going to generate 2, 3, 4, 5 table, 5, then let's just have a print statement where it prints table of I. We'll have a caption like, table of 2, table of 3 like this. Then the same statement I'll repeat here, while q less than or equal to 10. So the same print statement. So this block is to get from 2 ones are 2 to 2 tens are 20. Then after 2 table, we want this particular I value to change to 3. So inside this while loop, it's for incrementing numbers from 1 to 10. I'm coming out of this while loop and I want to be inside this. So with all this 4 indentation, that means we are inside the first while block. If you are inside the second while block, you'll have one more indentation here. So I'll just write I equal to I plus 1. So the after 2 table, I value will change again to 3. Then it will check the condition again, 3 less than. I'll explain line by line again. So let me just execute this first. Yeah. So if I just run this, okay. What has missed here is so increment table. I just got the tables for something's wrong here. Anybody can
Are we
check.
supposed to write that while again, while q is less than or equal to 10 after this last one, I is equal to I plus 1 again to print
Yeah,
Can
I
you
three
set
wanted
q
tables?
to
equal to 0? Sorry, q
where?
equal to 1. Reassign q equal to 1 again.
Okay, okay, yeah. So just a second. Okay, equal to 1, yeah. So less than 1 print table. So we just got this. Then first num. Okay, just a second. Okay, I have to increment second num equal to here within the while loop. I have just done it. Okay, let me just see this. I got a little confused here.
You'll have to re-initialize queue because first time it is reaching 10, right? After that, it is not going there.
At
So,
I equal to I plus 1 time, so we have to reassign q equal to 1 because it
yeah.
reached already q 10.
So that's the
Yeah,
reason in the bottom three you are seeing table of 3, 4, and 5, right? Because you already
yeah.
reached. Yeah. Or you
Okay,
take while above. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
okay. So while second num equal to less than equal to 10, okay, print function. Then okay, let's have it here only, sorry. So then, so we have to reassign, correct? Let's reassign. Yeah, indentation error, correct. So you are correct, Maria. Like I just forgot the statement. Like I have to reassign it. So because we are not going here, so once it reaches 10, so we have to reassign it to q equal to 1. So you understood the while loop clearly, good. So yeah, so we got a 2 table, 3 table, 4 table and 5 table here, right? So line by line, what is happening here is first we are going to create a variable where we have two value here. and then we are going to create one more variable where we have one value here. So first while loop checks I less than or equal to 5. It is less than or equal to 5. It's true. We entered this block now. So once we entered this block, we are printing table of I value was 2. So we got the statement like of 2. Then again we are reassigning the value. Okay, q equal to 1. So while q less than or equal to 10. So 1 less than or equal to 10, it's true. We are going to enter this block now. So this is like nested loop, like we have while inside while. So we are going to execute this statement. We know like what this statement is, like 2 into 1 equal to 2, 2 into 2, like, then again one value gets incremented to 2. Then it will check again. So till 10 times this particular block gets executed. So we have the 2 table ready. Once the 2 table is ready, when the q value reaches 11, we comes out of this second while loop. So once we come out of it, we see the statement I equal to I plus 1. So 2 becomes 3 now. So again, after 2 becomes 3, it's still true. So we are inside the first while block again. So it will print the table of 3 now. Then we have to reassign this. So because we reached the q value to 11, so 11 less than or equal to 10, it's always false. So we don't enter the second block. That's the reason the first time we just got like print table of 3, 4, 5, because this is true till 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just got the tables there. So without this statement, like we didn't enter into the second while block. So we have to again, yeah. So we got from 2 to 5 table, right? So any questions here? Like why was the error before and how it got resolved with just like, q equal to 1, reassigning the value.
Can you repeat that again, please?
Okay. So like you want me to repeat why the error was before, like without the statement, like we just,
Right.
okay. So before what the mistake what I've done is like I missed this reassigning. So when I run this, I just got a 2 table and it got printed like table of 3, 4 and 5. So what was happening is like we entered this while loop, it checked like 2 less than or equal to 5. It was true, we are here, table of 2. Then this got executed 10 times. What is the value of q now after executing till here? 2 tens are 20. What is the value of q now when we come out of this while block?
10. 10.
10, right? So once it's 10 less than or equal to 10, it's still true. So we'll go inside it, we'll print like 2 into 10 equal to 20. After that, with this statement, 10 will become 11. So when
11.
10
Yeah.
becomes 11, you check like 11 less than or equal to 10, it's false. So when it falls, like we cannot enter this block anyways, like we then come to this statement, like we'll exit the while block when this condition, when this q value reached 11. So now the q value we have is like 11, and we came out of this while block. Then we check like I equal to I plus 1. I was 2 before, then it becomes 2 plus 1, 3. So we are still inside this while block. It's like while inside while. So we go up, again check 2 less than or equal to 5. It's still true. So it will print table of 3. When these statements were not there, the q value was in the memory was 11. So it will check like while 11 less than or equal to 10, then it is false, right? So 11 less than or equal to 10, true or false? 11 less than 10, false, right?
False.
So
False,
it's
yeah.
false. So when it's false, we don't have the key to enter the while block. So it will again come to I equal to I plus 1, which was 3 before. Then it will see like, 3 plus 1, 4. Again, it will check 4 less than or equal to 5. It was still true. It just have the access to this print statement, table of 4. Then it again checks 11, q was still 11. So it won't enter this block. Again, it will check like 4 plus 1, 5. 5, it's still true, then it prints table of 5, but does it print the whole table? Because the Q value was 11 and we are not going to enter this block. So that's the mistake we have done. Then we have realized, like, we have to reassign this, like the variable q equal to 1, have to reassign this inside the while block, because each time we reaches 11 here, we want to change this back to 1. We have to reassign the q value to 1. So when we change the q value to 1 again, so it will check 1 less than equal to 10. It was true, then the I value was already changed to 3. Then you get the 3 table. So it's like, when you have nested while loops, is the outer while loop, this is the inner while loop. For each outer while loop, this inner while loop is executing 10 times. For 2 table is executing 10 times. Then again we come for the 3 table. Then again the inner while loop, this block is executing 10 times. Then we are changing to 5 table, sorry, 4 table or 5 table, like it's executing 10 times. This is how it's working. Like, first in a while loop, inside that we have one more while loop which is executed 10 times depending on the code it executes. Is your question clear? Now I reassigned it so that we get a key to enter the second while loop and we get the whole table, not just the table of 3, 4, 5.
And you don't need the first q equal to 1. First one you don't need, I think. Second one
Yeah,
is
because
fine.
first one still the condition was true. So whenever you
No,
have
no,
confusion with, yeah,
below I equal to 2, q equal to 1, you don't need to do because you are already doing in the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth
yeah,
line.
yeah,
Yeah, you don't need that there
yeah,
for nested
this
loop.
is not there. Yeah. We don't need that. So you can keep on adding, like, if you want after each table you want some. So what you can do is, after the class, like, you can, if you are still confused, take a paper. It's always one line by line execution in Python, so you can check how it enters. If it's, the conditions, like if it's true we are entering it, and then where we are breaking it. So yeah, so you can try this nested while loops. And let's go for this functions topic, which is very important block of any programming language. You have functions everywhere. So function is a block of organized reusable code that is used to perform a single related action. For example, we have a simple addition. So what we do is, like, a equal to 6 we do it, like b equal to 9 we do it, then we say like a plus b, and I run it, like I'm going to get a output here, right? Now I want to do a different addition. Like, I have to again write 3 lines of code and do it. So with functions, what we can do is we can create a function for addition. So each time you change the values of a and b, it will perform the addition for you. It's like, we have these machines, right? For example, we have this ATM machine. The task of ATM machine is to generate money and give the receipt. So you don't have to, like, you can reuse it, like many people use the same machine to get the money. So it will be time saving, like, and you have the blender machine. The task of the blender machine is to make the juices. So you change the fruits, you get different juices. All these are like not one time use, right? You can reuse it. So function is also like a machine where you can give some input, and based on the task of that machine you are going to get the output. And the main purpose of functions is, like, reusability of the code, so that it's organized, and the same task, it can be performed with different inputs. So we need functions. Like, there are again two types of functions, which are user defined functions and ready made functions. So we already use a lot of ready-made functions like type function, input function. So all these functions are already written in the backend. The code was written. So print function task is to, like, whatever you write inside the print function, it has to print it in the output, right? So you don't have to write the code for the print. So you are just using it. So there might be problems where you don't have the ready-made function. Then we have to uh, go for user-defined functions. So now we'll see how to create a user-defined function using Python. So while on functions, So functions help in reducing code repetition and it's organizing code. It improves the readability and reusability. So you can say ready-made or inbuilt functions. So we saw different print type functions. We are going to see a lot of functions. There are thousands of functions. And how to create a user-defined function? The syntax is very simple. You are going to use the def keyword definition like def keyword and you can give a function name like we saw the Python identifiers, right? Python identifiers are nothing but naming the variables or functions or modules and so on. So the same rules applicable for the function naming also. When you create your own user defined function, we are going to name it as if we are naming the variable and then you have the brackets and you have to give the inputs. So we'll create a function for the simple addition and see and again to enter a function block, we have the colon and the spacing is important. Indentation is important. So first we'll create a function which takes input and returns output. We'll see what is this returns output means. So for the same addition, what I'll do is def is the keyword. So addition, I can give a name. So always try to give function names or variable names such a way that it suits the task of it. Add numbers and I want to add two numbers. So I'll give the variables here like a comma b colon is the syntax. I press enter. I'm inside the function block. So the task is result equal to a plus b. So any numbers you take it, any two numbers with this function I can add them. So here with functions there is a keyword called return. So whatever we want to return, whatever output we want to get it from that particular function, we have to use the return keyword and give the variable here. From this function, after addition, I always expect to see the result. So I write result here. So when I run this, a simple user-defined function for adding two numbers is created. So, but you don't see any output, right? I just created a function, but I don't see any output. To use a function, we have to call the function. So we say like calling the function with the name we have to call it like add underscore num inside the brackets. Now instead of a comma b, whatever numbers I want to add, I'll just give it here and run it. So you get the addition. So you want to do it for other numbers, you just have to give the different numbers and run it. So this is the main purpose of the function, like reusability. So you don't have to repeat a plus b equal to sum, and you don't have to create variables and again and again. You create a user-defined function, you can reuse it. So like with complicated problem statements also, once you create a function, it would be useful for us for reusing it. And so we call this like calling a function. Any questions here with creating a simple function? So we still have to go and see like what is with the written statement, how important written statement is. But till here with the syntax and all, any questions?
Yeah, like we are not printing, we didn't give any print statement, right? How
Yes,
it's giving the answer.
because we are expect like with the user-defined function. So we have a written statement means like whenever you call this function, we are expecting this result output in the uh, like when you run it, we are expecting the result output like here. So it's not actually printing it. Printing means like you have a number, it just prints it. Here it's like we call it like returning the output so that you reuse the output. So I'll like next we have an activity where we'll see the difference between the print and the written statement soon. Then you will understand a little more about like what happens with when you have just printed the result when you have written result. So we'll see that activity soon. So here if I say like result equal to a plus b, I want to return a. So let's not change let's do it here because later on for you not to get confused. So I'm returning a. I'll create a different function name add underscore num1. So I just run this. User defined function is created. Add num 1 and giving 7 and 8. What would be the output now? I created the same
7.
7, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, I'm returning correct. I'm returning 7. So because you do any operation inside the function, but based on the return statement, you get the output. So this function we created for adding the numbers, but you wanted to return only the first input we have provided. So we create user defined function so that you can use later on the code. Like maybe you can say like use this, you call this function, then you use this input for doing some addition, something like this. Then it becomes like this. So instead of okay, let me give simple addition like 3. So what would be the output? Like first I created a function, then plus 3 I did with it. So what happens here? It's not error, you have just saw it. So what will be the output now?
10.
10, because at number 1 returning a here. So the return of this particular function is 7. When you have done plus 3, it's 10 here. The same here, I just run this, right? So let me add underscore num. I'll just have like 2 comma 5 plus 5. What would be the output now?
12.
12, correct. So because like for this particular function, what we are expecting as the output is the result, which is 7 now. It's not 2. So it was 7. So 7 plus 5 is 12. But here with the same addition, what I'm returning from this function is a here. So for this particular function, so we have to look carefully what it is returning as an output. So output is a here, which is 7. Now I am adding plus 3 here, it becomes 10. Is it clear here? Anybody, any questions? This is a very simple block. So if you have questions, I'm going to repeat it. Is it okay with simple user defined function? But based on the return statement, whatever output we get from a user defined function based on the return statement. So here I'm returning result. So it returned the result which is a plus b, which was 7, 7 plus 5, 12. But the same function I'm returning a here, which was 7. Now we're not concentrating on the result. So plus 3, 10. So when you are creating complex like functions based on the use case, so we want that functions to return a particular output to reuse in some other scenarios. So based on what we exactly want from that function may include like 10-15 line of code, but you need a particular statement based on different scenarios, then you can use the functions like this. Yeah, I'm expecting this is clear. Then yeah, we have put in all the theory about like how line by line execution happens here and calling a function. So let's create a function which takes input but does not returns any output. Any questions? Okay. So let's create a function which takes,
I just
yeah,
want to ask a question.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the values you have A and B. Can we add it? Can we select C, add to that A and B, and
Yeah, you can create any number. Like I'll give you, like I just gave 2 inputs here, right? If I just give 1 input and run it, it will throw error. So it was expecting 2 inputs, I just give 1, it will throw error. Like if I just give like 2 comma 3, if I run this, it will throw error because it was expecting 2. You have to careful, you have to give 2. But again, like when we go a little more into other topics, I'll show you like how to give more inputs too. So don't worry right now, don't complicate it, just understand the basics right away. So if you want to add 3 numbers, then you have to create a function with 3 variables. You can give any variable name. Only then you can give 3. So now I've created a function which can add 3 numbers. So based on the use case, we have to design the function according to our own need. So if you give 2 or 1, it will throw error. Is your question answered?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So let's create a function where we are not expecting any return statement. We can have a function where you don't have a return function in it. So we'll see what happens. So say a comma b. So you still add a plus b, but you don't have a return statement. So you run it, but you don't see any input. So in the backend, it's still adding the values, but you don't see any output because you don't have the return statement. So if you want to see R value, it will throw error because it's inside the function. So you cannot print R value just outside simply like this. So there might be some functions based on the use case where you just have to do some operation, but you don't want any output to be expected from that function. So we can create a function without return statement. So that's not compulsory that we need a return statement there. So let's add a print statement and see. Like, I don't have return statement here. I have print. So if I just call the same function and run it, now it's printing it. So as if it looks like, it's returning the output, but let's do this operation like what we have done before. It's printing 11, but plus 10. What happened? Unsupported operand, none type and integer didn't got added. Like when we had written statement, it's returning a output and you were able to add numbers to it, right? So you are able to add plus 3 here because you had written a, it was returning 7, and plus 3, it's 10. Here with the print statement, it's just displaying that particular value here. It's not an integer to use arithmetic operation over it. So you like someone asked me this question, right? Like difference between print and written statement. This is what happens. Like without written, when you want to do operations like this, it's displaying like, so you can use print statement instead of written when you just want to display the output, but you don't want to do any operation on it. Then you can use the print. So
So I have a question. Does print always return data type as a string?
not like a string. It's not an input function. Like if you have a number inside it, then it would print like just that particular number. So it's like a none type. So
So what is this
like
data type? Sorry.
we just got like, it's like a none type. We don't, it's not having any data type to it. Like it says like none type. So I never
Okay.
use type over print. Let's see if it works. It's none type. So there's
Okay.
no data type. It's just displaying the message. So yeah, good question. Like I never tried type over print statement. So let's give some text here. Yeah, it's always none type. It's just displaying the message. So this is the difference between the return statement and the print statement. So you are printing the result here. The same example we just put in like, so output equal to add numbers, like you just get like, it just prints, but when you print output, it just shows like none. So this is the difference between print and return inside the functions. And you can have functions which does not take any input but returns output. So you see like, you don't have any input, but the return statements always returns Python. So whenever you run this dummy function where you don't have any inputs, but you expect it to return Python whenever I run this. So all these different type of functions to see like, you can create this different variations of functions, and depending on use cases, like where you want to create it, we can use it. Like you can still do it. So
Uh, uh,
yeah.
c- yeah, uh, excuse me, can you move a little bit? Why it's display returning none, printing none value?
Here, like when I'm printing a result, I just got 8. But when I'm printing output of this, it's none, right? We don't have the return statement. That's the reason, like when we have done
Oh, okay.
calling the
There is
function plus
no.
time, yeah, none type plus integer, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
here,
yeah.
yeah.
If you
So I'm,
return it, then it will display with
yes,
8 days. I mean, yeah.
yeah. So the same function, if I have print and return both, then here I add like
Sorry, I didn't
return.
notice return statement. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. So return, but it's a good question, like difference between print and result. So return, yeah, result. Output is not none now. Now it would work. So I have the return, right? Now you can see like return result. So output is also 8. So you can check out the difference. Like when you have a written statement, it was output also, like you want to print output, then it was 8. When you want to save this particular output in a variable and print it, it was none because there was no written statement. So you can see the difference between these two like functions with written and no written. So written is very important with a
Uh,
function. Yeah.
yeah. So I have question here. Like it's without giving print, it will read when we give return statement, it will print the result, right? 8 it came. So it should come 3 eights, right? So because return statement 1 8, there is some
Here,
in.
like I'm not calling a function to return something here, right? To see the output, like when I create a function like this, so to see the output, we call the function, right? You give the number and the like you add underscore num, then you give like 3 comma 5, then it will return 8 twice here. But this is just creating a function. Then I'm getting the output of this function and saving it in a variable and printing this variable alone. So for this, we are printing uh, result. So I mean, like we're printing 1 8 for this print statement, and we are printing second 8 for this print statement. So like let me just put it like this. If there is no return result, it would be 8 and null. So this is for just print 8, this is for this. So here we are getting one more 8 because I'm calling this. So here I'm not calling anything, so you don't have the
Oh,
second. Yeah.
oh, okay.
Okay. So it seems like for the first timers, it seems a little tricky, but it's not. Like you can just go through again, give different examples, you get used to it, and it's little like logical. It seems somewhere like what is this return and print, but small little differences between them. Like we have put in all different examples here to try it. Still, if you have questions, you can always reach out. So this is how a simple
Can you
user
like summarize why did we get two eights?
where
Uh,
here
the output was two eights, right? Back to back.
here, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So this is one for the spread statement. So other like this is a very simple example we have taken to see what is the difference between print and return, right? So here with the function we called it the output we saved it in one more variable and we're printing it. So if you don't have this print statement,
The first eight is because of the return, and the second eight is because of the printing.
so the first 8 is a result of this. Like you're just printing
Okay,
it. Yeah. So
okay.
returning, you have the statement, but you get the output only when you call this function. So I'm calling this function like like uh, without saving this. So just not like just want to show the difference between print and output. That's the reason we have written output equal to. This is how we do a simple function, right? You create a function, you just call it. Then I just called it, saved the output in the output variable just to show the difference between print and output. But here, if I just run this, now you again have two 8s because one for this function calling and the other one is like because of the print statement.
Okay, got
So yeah, okay. So next is global keyword. Like how many of you heard about global and local variables? If you know any other programming language, you have global and local variables there also.
local is meant for that particular piece of code or for that particular page, but global is
Okay.
like it can be used, that method or function that is created can be used everywhere.
Okay. So, like put it in a simple terms, we can even say like variables which are declared outside user-defined functions are called global variables. The variables which are declared inside user-defined functions are called local variables. So the thing is like we have to see the scope of this global and local variables. If we create a variable which is outside the user defined function, can we use it inside the user defined function? And the function which is created inside, can we use it outside? That we just want to try the scope of this local and global variables. So to modify the value stored in a variable using a user defined function, we need to declare that variable with the global keyword. We'll see this note with an example. So we just create a variable outside the user defined function. We call it like global variable. Inside the user-defined function, it's just to show you the syntax. We created one more variable, so we call it like local variable. So you can just print like you can access both the variables inside a user-defined function. Even if it's global or local, you can just print them. So let's write a function that uses global variable and changes its value. So let me take a simple example. So let's understand this global and local local block of code. Okay. So let me just create without any local and global. Relating disturbance. Yeah. Add underscore n. So let me just take two variables. Simple, the function which we have created above without any local and global. I'm adding the sum and I'm returning the sum. So if I just call this function add underscore n and just give two values, what would be the output now? I don't have local, global, anything here. It's a simple addition function again, where you have two numbers, two variables given, and we expect sum, and we are returning the sum. I just call the function. I gave numbers like 1 comma 2. What would be the output?
3.
3.
3, right? I just run it. It's 3. It's simple addition function. For this, I'm going to add one global and local variable. So here it's B and C, right? Let's take A equal to 5, and this is global variable because it's outside user defined function. Inside this function, I'll give one more variable D equal to 2. This is local variable. So till here, I expect you understand difference between global variable and local variable. That globals are created outside user-defined functions, locals are created inside user-defined functions. So still, like you are adding only B and C. If I just run add underscore n function, it's still 3. You just created it, but you are not using it anywhere. A and B are still like just spectators in this particular code. Now what I want to do is I want to add local variable here, b plus c plus d. What would be the output? Like one small change from here to here is that I'm adding local variable. Sum equal to b plus c plus d.
5.
5.
5. Correct. Because just that it's local variable, the variable is declared inside the function. D value is 2. B and C we just gave like 1 and 2. D is constant because it's always D equal to 2. But still you got the output like 1 plus 2 plus 2, which was 5. So till here it's clear, right? Let's do one more change. what we are going to do here is, let's add global variable. Let's A. What would be the output?
10.
10, correct. So you are able to add global variable also. Till here, no confusion. Like, you had a function, you have two variables declared, you just wanted the sum. You gave B and C, and you already have A and D, you got the sum, right? So now what I'm going to do here is, with the same function, inside the user defined function, before adding or after adding, I want to change the A value first. I don't want it to be 5. I want to change the A value to 7. A equal to A plus 2. Then I want to add to sum. What would be the output now?
12.
12.
12. So because the 5 value, we just entered the user defined block, B equal to 2. Then what I've done is, like, A value I simply changed from 5 plus 2, 7. Then simple addition, then I run it. So now you see that you get an error. Cannot access local variable A where it is not associated with a value it says. So it's considering A to be a local variable when I started manipulating that particular value, right? So I can solve this issue, like, so what you understood by this? We have done like line by line. So I have to declare global A. Then if I run it, it would happily work. You got the 12 just by adding one more keyword, like, global A. I have to declare this global variable inside the local variable, sorry, inside the user defined function. Then we got the output, but surprisingly, like, till here everything was smooth. I when I added A to the sum also, it was smooth, like we got the output. But when I wanted to change this A value from 5 to 2, there is a resistance, we got the error. What do you understand from this?
We cannot change the
Correct.
value
Trying
of A.
to change global value inside the user defined function without declaring with the keyword global.
Can we declare outside global A, global A equal to 5?
Let's take it, put it here. So you want to declare here itself global A equal to 5
Yes.
and run it. Invalid syntax, okay. Just next line, let me just you got error, like cannot access local variable A. We have to declare it inside the user defined function, not outside.
Okay.
So you can remember this analogy, like we go for any foreign country, like as a tourist. So there are like a lot of countries which way we can travel from India without visa, right? So we can have like around more than 50 plus countries where you can travel to without visa. So Maldives is one of it. Like if I go for Maldives, I can be a tourist there. I don't need a visa. I can directly go there. But if I want to go to Maldives and work there, I want to set up some business there. Can I do it without any permissions from the country without visa? I can be a tourist there, roam around, look around and come back. But if I want to work there, I need a visa. The same thing with this global variable. If it wants to go inside the user defined function like a tourist, it can roam inside, like, it can contribute without changing its value here. But if you want to make this any changes to this global variable inside the user defined function, you need the visa, which is this global keyword. Only then you can make the changes to it. If not, it will throw error. Any questions here? Did you understand the difference between global and local variable? Is it okay? Okay, great. So, yeah, so you can,
So
yeah,
that local the keyword, right? So we are not using a local keyword. Do we need to
no,
use
no,
anywhere in that?
no, local keyword, no. Only for global, like the variables which are outside this user-defined functions. If you want to manipulate them inside the user-defined function, then we have to declare them as global to make changes on it. But if you just want to make them roam inside the function without any changes to it, you don't have to declare it. Yeah. So again, like for this,
Uh,
we can have a shortcut. Yeah. Yeah, you were asking any question. Go ahead.
so now we changed the global variable a to a plus 2, right? So
Yeah.
it's 5 plus 7. So
Yeah.
if I go and use another method, so then the value is 5 or 7.
5. So you can create one more function here. There. So we have some variables here. So you are actually adding again someone equal to w plus r plus a, which is the global variable. So it was 5 before, right? So you call the function someone and you give uh, 5 comma 5. So what is the output we
So
expect for this?
do we need to define again that global A because in another method, right?
Yeah, so you can, so okay, I'm not returning anything, that's the reason. Return someone. So 5 plus 5, okay, just, so sorry, like a value was changed here. So a value got changed to 7 permanently, sorry, my bad. So it was 7, 7 plus 5 plus 5 is 17. So the a value was changed here inside the user defined function, it was changed. So you can take different, like, whatever questions you have, you can take different examples, run it, and yeah. So you can check it out. Sometimes we get confused with this.
So I have a question. The new value of a is now 7, but is that only inside that user defined function, or is it for the global a?
Yeah,
The global a itself has
yeah,
become
global
a.
it was changing. Yeah, that's the reason. Like we done this function here, so we observed, like, the a value was changed to 7. So if I'm just printing the a value, it's 7 now. It's not 5. So once we declared global and then we changed inside the local variable, then it's changing everywhere. Like its new value of a is 7 now.
So now globally, wherever we use a, it will become 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can take this particular activity as homework where you can create a function that acts as a simple calculator. So you create a calculator where it is going to take three arguments. First two are the numbers which you want to add or subtract, and then third variable is the operation. Like first you want to do the addition, then subtraction, and so on. Like you uh, call the function, you give like two numbers and this operation, and then it has to do the operation according to the symbol you have given. So you can try creating this simple calculator as a function. So as a homework, you can try this. So what are the concepts? Like the hint is like you have to use conditional statements now. So you have to create a function with conditional statements. Use conditional statements. Yeah, okay. So we'll stop it here today. Tomorrow, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about what is a module, and then we'll start with the introduction of a data structure. Till now, we know like variable is to store only one single value. If we have to store multiple values in a single variable, then we need this concept of data structure. So we'll go to the data structures, and the first data structure we are going to learn is list. So how to create list and what are the different operations on the list we'll explore. So we'll see all these activities tomorrow. So yeah, so go ahead, like take care. See you all tomorrow. So Indian students, like have a great day ahead. Students from other countries, like good night, take care, bye bye. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, are we going to have a class tomorrow?
Sorry, my bad again. So tomorrow is weekend, right? So don't have classes on weekend, like Saturday, Sunday. See you on Monday. Enjoy the weekend.
Okay
Thank
then.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, have a good one. Mhm.